And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another fun-filled episode of The Other Side of Ropes, the online wrestling column slash blog, excuse me, about professional wrestling from a wrestler's point of view. I'm your humble host, or not so humble, take your pick. If you don't know me by now, you will never, ever know me. None other than Black Magic himself, aka Shaka, aka the current Power Trip Wrestling Internet Champion. Okay, all right, it's enough of that. It's coming off the heels of a pretty busy weekend. I had to wrestle up in Tamaqua with Elite Generation Wrestling last night. That went to double disqualification. We'll get into that later. We also had to do an interview about a few hours ago with some swell guys, as I like to say it. The guys over in Smart Mark Radio, got to rap with them for about an hour. Pretty cool. They were pretty impressed with they got to see the old archives from the column when I used to type it out and go through the whole thing at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 and 1 o'clock in the morning, half out of it and everything, and catching typos I didn't see the first time. They caught some of the video. And they were kind of blown away by it. I appreciate the props, guys. And of course, we did the podcast not even, I would say, a half hour ago with my partner in crime, Jesse. Oh God, he's gonna kill me. White Trash Johnny Logan. We're doing Top Rope Radio, where we interviewed the NCAA Pro official Jackson Cole. And we pretty much talked about, we asked him about his experiences breaking in and all that good stuff. And from a fan's point of view, what brought him in. Now, if you guys remember when I put my bid in last week and we're talking about conditioning and everything. Of course, that was an unfinished story. If you guys were trying to figure out what that long thing was over my back, like I said, that was a 20-pound mace. Some people outside the thing thought it was a stick. I'm like, no. It's not a stick. In fact, it's too heavy to be a stick. Like I said, it was 20 pounds of metal. As a matter of fact, they'll probably see that in a couple of days. But yeah, if it's a stick, trust me, it's kind of hard trying to cart that thing on a bus and a train going down to one of my gyms last week. But the whole point is, I stress the whole thing about conditioning as opposed to fitness, because we're supposed to be professional wrestlers, okay? We're not set to be bodybuilders. That's the illusion they want to put out for sports entertainment because, well, it's sports entertainment. They give that perception, but like I said, you want to see oiled up, beefed up guys, and if you want to say they're juiced up, fine, so be it. That's the case. Yeah, like I said, they're giving off the perception of being athletes. Just because you got the body, let's put it like this. You've got imagine having a Cadillac shell of a car, but you've got a Volkswagen engine, or even better, it's a Chevy engine. And I don't mean that in a good sense. I'm thinking beat up Chevy, but it looks good. On the outside, looks good, looks great, looks awesome, but runs crappy up to a point. I mean, what I mean by it is you're going by what you see on television by matches. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. If you got these guys in an actual wrestling match, they be done in about 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, people don't understand, like when I mention MMA, people don't realize, if you ever pay attention, even in, say, in the amateurs, you get 3 matches. I mean, you get 3 rounds and 2 minutes long. And from personal experience, I call this the longest 3 minutes of my life because that's how long it was. I'm not even counting the middle in between the rounds. I'm talking about the first 2 minutes of the first round and the first half of the second round up until they stopped it. 3 minutes. People don't realize a lot can happen in 3 minutes. And that's what you got to condition yourself for. People talk about cardio. That's one of the most overused words in fitness. I hate that word, cardio. Because most people use it in the wrong context every time. Oh, I got to do cardio, so I got to get on a treadmill. Dude, let's break down cardio for a second, okay? For the terminology impaired, yeah, I'm throwing that in there. Cardio, when people say that, they don't realize that means cardiovascular endurance. In layman's terms, all that means is you're just jacking up your heart rate a little higher than it usually is for a certain amount of time, and then you jack it back down because you don't want to sit up there and do it for too long. Otherwise, a sucker will burst or something like that. You know, high blood pressure, stroke, blah, 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 stuff like that happens. Okay? You have to do that along a certain parameter. You got to do that in a way where it's not going to kill you. I mean, you don't necessarily have to train balls to the wall to get cardio. You don't have to be on a Stairmaster. You don't have to be on an elliptical. You don't necessarily have to be on a treadmill. You don't have to run to get on to get your cardio. Anything that's strenuous exercise is going to get your cardio. I'm sure everybody had gym class. You ever been on a treadmill in gym? No. It made you do jumping jacks though. That was cardio for that back then, what they call calisthenics. That's all it is. Now, for some odd reason, people forgot to do the homework when it came to wrestling training. I mean, they figure, okay, I got in for a certain amount of time, I don't have to do Hindu squats anymore. No, you don't have to do Hindus. You don't have to do dive bomber push-ups and all that. It'll help. You don't have to go balls to the wall. But if you do it to a certain point of time to where you still get your conditioning in, there's a thing called sports specificity. Okay? Functional training. Anything that has to do that's pertinent to what you have to do in your particular sport. Every sport has it. They got conditioning for tennis. They got conditioning for basketball, football. Doesn't matter. I mean, any kind of training camp, you got guys that specialize in what you're going to do if you're a defensive end, your tight end, so on and so forth. You may not see that if you're doing high school intramural level, but you will see it in collegiate and professional. Just saying. If you don't believe me, pay close attention to what the movie, like, say, Any Given Sunday. It might have been a movie, but there is some truth to that. There's always more truth than fiction in the weirdest places. MMA, usually, like you were in boxing, like in a fight camp for MMA, you have your nutritionist, you're going to have a strength and conditioning coach, and depending on the disciplines, you're going to have a stand-up coach, you're going to have a grappling coach, or in some cases, like if you're in say, a discipline like Sambo, has striking and grappling, you might have 2 in 1. You know, but you still have to basically condition yourself in such a way. You got to drill. I mean, think about it. I'm not going to get much out of running 5 miles for a fight than I am learning how to drop my level from stand up, because that's what you got to worry about doing. You condition yourself for, oh, I'm going to be standing. I might be standing. This guy might shoot in. Now I got to learn how to sit up there and be ready for that. So if he's going to shoot in, I got to sprawl, you know, and then I got to react on the sprawl. You know what I mean? Do I go to ride on the side? Do I take his back? Do I go in for a shoot in for a guillotine or something like that? Or I might turn around, throw in a jab. You got your combos. You throwing a kick, jab, combo, going for a 2-piece. You ain't trying to hit him. All of a sudden, you shoot in. Bam, you got him. That's how you train for that sort of thing. I'm just saying. And you don't have to spar to sit up there and get that type of thing in. But that's just an example. That's the level I've been on for the last 2 years or so. Okay? You train for that sort of thing. Okay, I may not shoot it on somebody, but I train for that sort of thing. My thing is, what I'll do is when I get on the ground, or, you know, clinching. You going for clinching. You don't see a lot of clinch. People thinking boxing with the clinch. Come on, guys. Wrestling, what's the first thing you do in a stand-up? You locking up, you're going into the clinch. Not many people have a thing for that because they're thinking entertainment values. You can do so much with that. You know? I mean, you got to wake up. I can go on and on with that one, but, you know, I'll throw in more with it. But trust me, if I do too much, it's getting kind of late, and my piece is getting cold. And I got more videos to watch myself. Yeah, I'm still just cracking the halfway point of the Masakazu and Minari thing. Awesome stuff. And it kind of brings me back to when I was watching the old pro wrestling, the old the Jushin Liger stuff. No subtitles, all Japanese, but if you watch it and you know what to look for, you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. You just watch the flow and learn. On that note, all shout outs, of course, to my co-host of Top Rope Radio and the rest of his clan from 38 Proof. And of course, talking about White Trash, Johnny Logan, Jesse, Jackson Daniels, and of course, Southern Grizzly, all part of the 38 Proof clan from North to South. Big up to my twisted sister out in LA doing Occupy LA. That's, of course, Liz Savage. To our boy Sickness out in Arizona. And, of course, coming over to the eastern side of things. You got the MCW Maximum Championship Wrestling crew. You got Massive Mike, D-Line, E.L. Stanley, Chuck the Ref, the folks down in Power Pro Wrestling down in Southern Delaware. Of course, I'm talking about the guys with also the MCW guys. Pretty Ugly, Stewie Nicely, my peoples Jeff and Amber Klein, Shelby and Grey Roof, Haroof, over in Jersey and scattered out there out the East Coast, the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Alliance crew. Of course, I'm talking about the Risky Business Inc. crew. We got Sean Fury down in Maryland, Grimmy, Lucifer Grimm, Junior White over in New York. My little brother, part of the 212 aspect of the 215 Empire, Xavier Fate. Speaking of 215, we've got the last emperor himself, Ron Starr, the Mac Daddy himself. The best kept secret in Philadelphia, one of the best cruiserweights around at this particular point in time. I'm talking about none other than Blackie DeShields, Ty Reno, the Empress. And speaking of best around, all around cruiserweights, big shout out to my boy Davey Testman, who has, in his time back in our day, was one of the best pound for pound cruiserweights in Philadelphia at the time during the 90s. Of course, Doc Diamond, big ups to Devastation University. Over to the other side of the pond, if you will, over in the UK to my crew, Tommy, Petey, Drewy, Woo, Vicky, Jim, the Milkshake, and the rest of you guys, big ups. That's right, I put you over. To my crew over in Belgium, big shout outs to Beatings RS, aka Thorax, and Jack Demento. Big ups to Bull and Lori, Dr. Gangrene, Vindy, Raw, Edgard, over to the Holland crew, to the Sumerian Death Squad, Andy Effin Patterson, Rico Bushido, Mr. Destructo, and Emil Satochi. And over to the Deutschland crew. What do you know, Deutschland? Guten Tag and Guten Morgen, and the rest of you guys. Well, I'm not going to get into it. I know it's morning time over there. Anyway, to my bro and his family, the House of Jacks. Big ups, bro. To Susie in Berlin, Craig BC, Crazy Sexy Mike, Ahmed Khair, over in Berlin. Over in Dresden, to my people, Katrine, Susie, Silvana, Sandra and Grossenheim, Kathy, Maddie, the Top Catch crew, Andrea Babic, Marcel, Pro Wrestling Fighters, Johnny Tiger, Kim Mahler, Machina, the rest of the Deutsch Wrestling Alliance crew, to my boys over in Hamburg and the Lou Beck crew, the AMW crew, Rick the Voice Valentine, my boy Sven, aka Kern, big ups. I'll be waiting for that call when I get back over in Hamburg, big guy. Of course, Tazi Machine over in good old WrestlingJunkies.de, Wrestling and WrestlingFever.de, Marcus and the crew, to the Pro Wrestling Eve crew. Big ups to the Catch Division Wrestling champion. That's right, I'm talking about Yenny Sheridan. Of course, Mina the Valkyrie, and big ups to Alpha Female. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next week. Until then, I'll probably grace my presence once again with a training video. You'll get to see the Mason action, and just keep posted everything else is going on. In that case, I'm out. Peace.